Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tech Engagement Gallery here at the Vancouver Aquarium. My name is Madeline, and I'm joined here by Catherine.
Yes.
Welcome, Catherine.
Thank you.
Can you tell us what your title is at the aquarium?
So my title is Exhibit Content Developer, and it means that I actually work on doing the background research and developing the content for the exhibits that we put out on the floor.
So a lot of work behind the scenes and very important. But you were saying earlier that you have, well, I don't know, you didn't say it was your favorite thing, but perhaps it's your favorite thing.
Yes.
You know what that is that I'm talking about?
No.
Or what's one thing you like about your job?
Oh, the one thing I love about my job. Oh, yes, I love learning new things about the animals that we have here.
Right.
And the ones that we're planning to put out on display, and then telling everybody about them.
So that's what you do 9 to 5 or approximately however many hours you work here, maybe more than that. And yes, but then in your personal life, you are a big bird watcher, aren't you?
Yes, I do go out bird watching. I sneak out when I can between my mom job and my aquarium job.
Right. What birds have you seen in Stanley Park?
Lots of interesting birds in Stanley Park. The ones that come to mind right away are the black oyster catchers. That was kind of fun to see them here. Lots of cackling geese, which are the smaller version of the Canada goose. You know, people think that when they look at the Canada geese, they're all the same, but they're not. So it was really exciting to see the really small one called the cackling geese. But yeah, lots of birds.
Great. And birds are not only something that you focused on here in Vancouver, but also something that you enjoyed seeing on a trip to the Arctic. So when did that trip happen?
Yes, I went up to the Arctic to work as a naturalist back in 1996.
Wow.
And that was really fun. It was a great opportunity. I went from July to August, stayed for about 6 weeks roughly. We had different groups of tourists that would come for a week at a time. And we were on an island called Somerset Island, which is just south of Resolute. And we would basically receive the tourists as they come by plane, and then we had a program that would take them through, and we would show them all these wonderful things to see. And of course, what they really, really want to see, part of the reason that the camp was set up on Somerset Island is because of Cunningham River and Cunningham Inlet, which is one of the places that the belugas come to do their rubbing in the summer.
Right, and we do have we do have a photo of that behind us.
It was so exciting to see the belugas up there.
I bet.
Yeah.
Because at that time you actually worked at the Vancouver Aquarium as an interpreter, as a naturalist. Is
yes,
that correct?
By the time 1996 came along, I had been off the floor for a few years, but it was still relatively close to the time when I worked as a naturalist and was doing beluga shows. And we would always talk about, the belugas come into shallow water. They're, usually yellow when they come in, and they rub themselves against the rocks. And then I actually got to see it up north. It was so fun. that was so great.
Yeah, that must have been very exciting.
It was so neat. Yeah.
Aside from belugas, what other animals did you see while you were up there?
We got to see polar bears really far away. You have to have spotting scopes to find them. And then we got to see the muskox. And then lots of exciting birds, exciting for me, birds, because some of these birds I'd never seen before, like the eider ducks. There were 2 species that I got to see. That was exciting. And then there were some that we would see here in the wintertime, like the snow bunting. This is a horned lark, so we would see them here in the winter, usually in their winter plumage. These are chicks, so you wouldn't even recognize them if you knew them as adults. These are the young ones. So we got to see the horned larks there having babies. The snow buntings had babies. There were all kinds of other birds that we would... Snowy owl! Wow. Oh my God, I got to see snowy owl. There was the male and female there. They had 2 chicks and an egg. And then they had a lemming. on their nest. It was just like all these things you read about when I was going to university. You know, you read about high numbers of lemming feeding snowy owls up in the Arctic, and then I got to see it with my own eyes. That was really, really neat.
That would be amazing.
It was amazing.
And you actually have with you your book.
Oh yeah, my bird book.
Yes.
Let's see, what did I say about the owl? Oh wait, this is the eider. I got to see both these ducks. So one of my notes says, on July 9, 1996, on the way to go see the belugas, 2 male eiders flew by, and I got to see them.
So you recorded all of your sightings.
So I wrote down my, and you know, some people do lists. I'm lazy. I just write them down on my bird book.
Yes, that sounds like a pretty good plan.
Yeah.
Now, after you came back to the aquarium after that trip, and in fact several years after, you were quite integral in bringing the Arctic to the Vancouver Aquarium. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, that's right. By the time I worked on the Arctic Gallery, it was 2009. So this is a refresh of our 1990, our first big one, I guess. We had a smaller one called EMAC, which was done in 1986.
Okay.
Where Pacific Canada is now.
Today, yes.
Today. And then EMAC became this big new development, which was the 1990 Arctic Canada exhibit, which became the Canada's Arctic exhibit in 2009.
Right.
And yes, you know, all my experiences up north, having visited there, seeing the belugas, having tasted muktuk there, because the hunters came and brought muktuk to the camp. And the researcher who actually was studying belugas there at the time, Dr. Tom Smith, he was the one who the hunters brought the muktuk to. He brought that up to the camp because he was giving a talk one evening to the tourists, and he brought some muktuk, and everybody got to have a little bit of a taste. Everybody who dared to taste.
And you dared.
I dared.
Yes.
I dared, because you talk about muktuk again. I talked about muktuk all the time to our visitors here at the aquarium when I was doing my beluga shows, you know, and you show the skin and all that stuff, and you talk about Inuit eating muktuk. So I thought, hey, I talk about it all the time, gotta try it, which I did. It was really interesting. It's kind of crunchy almost, and it's got a bit of a nutty flavor. It's very nice. It was actually it was quite nice. It wasn't
It sounds
awful at all.
different than I would expect.
Yes, it's different. So because I know all that stuff, all that information kind of went into the development, of course, of the Arctic Gallery, and when we redid and when we refreshed the content, all that experience that I had in '96 went into the work that I did in the new gallery that we have. Sort of new gallery that we have now, 2009 years old.
And so you really have a role in telling Arctic stories at the Vancouver Aquarium.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
But you have that personal connection.
Yeah.
Now on the screen behind us we have a panel that you were part of creating.
Yes, that's right.
And there is even a little bit of information on muktuk. So can you tell us some more about that?
Yeah, I because of my experience up north, I was very conscious about the fact that you know, Inuit people do have their country food and how important it is for them. And for us, belugas are these amazing animals, but for them, belugas not just are amazing animals, but they're really food and part of their lifeline. And so when we got our muktuk, you see the bottom right corner there where it shows the muktuk? In the photo, we got it looking like that as well.
Okay.
So you can kind of cut small pieces off of it. And then, I just wanted to make sure that the people in the South, Southern Canadians and our visitors here, understood how important muktuk is to the Inuit people up north. And they really, according to Eric, our head of Arctic programs, they really appreciate the fact that we talked about it here. I even put the nutritional value. I was so excited when I found the nutritional value of belugas.
How did you actually? How did you actually accomplish that?
Diligent research. That's what it's called.
Right.
And yeah, it was so neat to be able to find that and be able to put it up on the, because of course as soon as you see the nutritional value, you think of food, right?
And I think that it's quite fascinating that muktak is high in certain
Yes,
vitamins.
that's right. Very high in vitamin C, and so important for the people up north because, of course, fruits are terribly, terribly expensive there. Tomatoes are like $5 each, I think, for a little one. We're complaining about our cauliflower just a few weeks ago. Well, tomatoes all the time are super expensive up north. All the fruits and vegetables are super expensive, so they get their vitamin C not just from beluga, but narwhal muktak as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's important.
So, Catherine, do you think you'll ever make it back to the Arctic, or what do you think will be next for you in the Arctic?
I would love to be able to go back to the Arctic, but I don't know that I'll ever get a chance again, which is why I jumped on the chance when I got it back in '96. But we are going to be redeveloping our Arctic gallery, so that will be the next for me. I hope to learn a whole bunch of things from our existing one to be able to take to the new one and then develop some new ideas, hopefully.
That's really
to present
exciting.
Information. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah. Well, all the best with that. And
Thank you so much.
We'll leave you with a slide, in fact, that was scanned into digital form that Catherine took.
Yes,
this is,
right.
Can you tell us where this is?
Oh, so this is on Somerset Island. We're looking out at the mouth of Cunningham River. So that's the Cunningham Inlet, and that's the Tombolo. You see on the far top right there, that kind of geographic formation there, they call the Tombolo. So that's, you know, we would say we're heading out to the Tombolo to go see the belugas. And then you would sit up on the side here to look down, and the belugas come into this mouth here.
That must have been amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on Northern Spotlights today, Catherine.
You're very
It's been
welcome.
a pleasure to have you. This is the program that takes you north with the Vancouver Aquarium. We have lots of other Northern Spotlights programs on our YouTube channel, so check those out. But for now, thanks for coming and have a great afternoon.